Hey, my name is Alvin Poh. I'm an entrepreneur and I grew my business from $0 to $30 million, eventually exiting it. And today I'm going to share with you various lessons, mistakes, tricks, whatever it is that I learned from my entrepreneurship journey. And hopefully these things can help you scale up your business as well. This episode was brought to you by Superscaling. Join the foundation program today and learn how you can systemize and superscale your business so that you can get $100,000 a month at least with a productive team from all over the world, raving fans as clients, and happy founders who have true freedom. Visit superscaling.com/foundation today. And now back to the episode. One of the things that happen a lot in entrepreneurship and in most businesses is the problem of handling growth and scale. My coaching clients do ask me a lot about this, and there are only really two ways that you are going to need to focus on in order to super scale your business. And these two things are people and processes. And for today's topic, I'm just going to cover about people. It's a big topic. So I'm going to give you a brief overview about people and how to actually create not just a group of individuals in your organization, but a highly effective team. The difference between a group of individuals and a team is that as a team, you're all working together towards certain organizational objectives, which your organization should have. And this is something that needs to be done, because if everybody is acting as an individual, you're not going to get the kind of productivity and performance that you require. You're going to have to ensure that they meet deadlines. You're going to have to ensure that they follow on tasks, that they are able to do their work well. And one of the things that are necessary for this is to make sure that you have great leadership. And my definition of leadership is pretty straightforward. It doesn't include any jargon. Like, I just want to make sure that as a good leader, things happen by design and not by default. And here's the difference between the two. In life, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have good leadership, what happens, even in your personal life, is that things will happen by default. Life happens, situations happen, and we're just going to follow the flow. That is letting things happen by default. And that's not what we want. That's not what we want in our business. That's not what we want from great leadership. So with good leadership, what happens is we are looking at how to make things happen by design. And we're going to think of the strategies, the planning, the structuring, so that things can happen the way we want them to. We have a goal, we have an objective, and we have things that we built and put in place so that we can actually get there. Again, this happens in both our personal lives as an individual and as well as our business as well. It's more important in the business, I will argue, because we now are in charge of various people, the whole team that we have in our organization. And as a business leader, we need to make sure that the organization moves together. And that involves putting the right people in place, putting the right systems in place, making sure that everybody knows what they are doing, can work well together, and is productive and performs well. So today's topic will be covering the people part of scaling up. We're not really concerned too much about the processes, even though it does include some in today's topic. But what we're going to do is to really look at the people part of the business and look at how we can actually get great people joining our team, attracting and recruiting them. Not just that, but once they join us, how do we actually retain them? Because we don't want people to keep leaving us. I think a lot of people in businesses look at customer churn, which is the number of customers that stick with you, but they don't spend enough time on employee churn. Employee churn is the number of employees that actually leave you. People do leave, and that's absolutely fine, but we want to make sure that we minimize that because it affects business stability and growth, and it also helps improve general morale and your company culture. So in terms of people, the important things that we are looking for, there are various aspects. One is what. Now, what is something that's very common, and that's the first thing that most people look at. So this is not something that we're going to spend a lot of time on. The what of people, of a role, is basically what they're doing. And I'm going to use a graphics designer as an example. So as a graphics designer, what is basically, maybe creating graphics, right? And that's something that obviously a graphics designer should be doing. It could be a tool like Photoshop, or maybe you're using like Illustrator to create like vectors, whatever it is, that's the what of it. And this is something that businesses typically have no problems with. What happens next though is that we need to focus on the how. My favorite example of learning how to do things is thinking about the process of cooking. So in a business, we use things like SOPs and processes, and this is something that we can apply and learn from, for example, from cooking. So I don't know if you cook, but if you do cook, you know that you follow a sequence of steps to produce a dish. And a dish can be anything, right? It can be like roast chicken, a steak, scrambled eggs, whatever it is. And if you imagine like your role being to cook dinner and you want to prepare various dishes, you want to make sure that all these things are SOPs and in as a process. SOP is basically something that tells you how to do something. For example, if you're cooking a scrambled egg dish, it's a fairly straightforward dish, but there are a lot of different parts to it. If I ask you how you prepare scrambled eggs, or you can ask anybody else, everyone will have their own various definition and sequence in which they will prepare the dish, and that will form an SOP. The more detailed it is, the better. I'll challenge you to actually create a SOP around scrambled eggs and try to get somebody else to follow it and see if that's going to be easy or difficult. A lot of times what people do is they forget certain things, like they don't put in details like the number of eggs to the number of people that you want to serve, or how long you want to actually have the eggs in the pan, what kind of heat you want to use, do you use oil or butter, or do you even use any of that? All these are the things that you want to put in your SOPs. This is something that you do in the kitchen as a cook, as a person who cooks, but it's something that we can apply to our businesses as well. So, using our example of the graphics designer knows how to create graphics. They know how to use tools like Photoshop or Illustrator, but how is it that your business needs your graphics? What kind of brand image are you portraying? What kind of tone do you want to convey? Right? Are you projecting a more fun, casual vibe, or are you projecting a more serious corporate look? As a graphics designer, these things need to be in place. It's the same thing as cooking a dish. Are you looking for something that, like, for example, scrambled eggs? Do you want something more runny, or do you want something a little more firm? And this is something that we need to apply in our SOPs, because this means, the person doing that role knows exactly what to follow. And as a business, we need to eventually build up a bank of SOPs and processes for our team to follow. So the last thing that we need to look at is why. And I think this is something that a lot of businesses don't focus on. And it can start all the way from the recruitment process, all the way to like the ongoing operations of the business. Let me give you an example. When entrepreneurs hire staff, I found that they don't really say very much about the why of it. Here's how to think about it. Imagine you hiring a person. The candidates that apply to the role, out of maybe 20 that apply, you get to choose one. And that one person eventually joins your team. On your end, you know exactly why that person joined your team. Of the 20, he might have shown the best results in terms of how well he does creates graphics, or how much experience that person has, or perhaps you're looking at more of a value-based hiring decision where that person is actually showing the attitude, the characteristics, the personality that will actually allow them to be a great company fit. And for the candidate, what happens is typically they join the company not knowing why they've been selected. They might just think that they've been selected because they've been shown to be an experienced graphics designer. But what is it exactly that you saw in them? That isn't communicated enough, right? And this is just at the start. On an ongoing basis, this needs to be communicated with your team members as well. Like, why are they doing the things that they are doing? Why do customers need to see better graphics? Why do customers need to see certain kinds of graphics from the company, right? It means that the work that they are doing improves the company's image, the brand, personality, the voice that you have, and that lends assurance, that lends confidence to your prospects and to your customers, right? And that gives people a reason why their work is so valuable and why their work is so meaningful or has so much purpose. That is the why behind things that I think a lot of businesses don't really spend a lot of time on. And this is simply just making sure that you explain the reasoning behind doing all these things that you're doing in the company. And this involves just having transparency in all the communications that you have. These are the three basic areas that we need to look at whenever we're looking at growing people, growing a team in our companies. And one of the things that my coaching clients ask me about is also, how do we actually ensure that our team can do the things that we tell them to do? How do we ensure that things are taken away from our plates as entrepreneurs? When we first start businesses, we wear multiple hats. We are usually multi-hatting. We usually take care of multiple things that's going on in our businesses. And most of the times, as the business grows, we get more and more overwhelmed. In this case, one of the things that we need to do is to learn how to delegate effectively. And delegation is also a step-by-step process. Once again, this is something that I had to go learn myself, and I'm going to break it down into a framework for you. The framework that I use is the DIET framework, DIET, and that allows you to actually create a process in which you can delegate effectively to your team members. Not only that, this is something that you can use for your managers as well, and from there your managers can actually delegate effectively to the teams that they are running also. Remember, all these all ties back down into great leadership, making things happen by design, not by default. So if you're interested in the DIET framework, I'm going to put a link somewhere on this screen or down below in the comments so that you can follow up on that and really watch that free training to incorporate these concepts into your business and ensure that your team not only knows how to do things but works well together and performs at a high level. I hope you like this video. Please like, comment, share. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if anything has been particularly useful for you or if you're going to implement anything into your business. I appreciate it if you subscribe to this video so that you'll be notified of any new videos that I put out. And if you have any questions, let me know so that I can answer them in future videos. Take care and I'll see you soon.